Hey everybody, this is Nate with a Backcountry beer review. Today I am on top of Cerro Bonanza, which is in the Cerrillos Hills, not part of the state park, part of some BLM land, so it's still public land. And it's, 10 miles south of the city of Santa Fe or so. And you can tell, you can probably hear I-25. You might be able to hear the quarry down there. It doesn't seem very backcountry-y, but actually I would be very surprised if more than, say, like a dozen people have been up here in the last year or two. I mean, it is a remote, very hard to get to place. I mean, the desert is a cruel beast. I saw a tarantula, got really close to it to try to take some video, and it kind of like jumped at me and freaked me out. Watch my hiking video if you want to see me scream like a little girl. I've stepped on at least 2 cacti, and I'll probably step on more on the way down. And if you haven't figured out already, I did been trying to get some nice B-roll footage. I tried to balance the can on a cactus, and wouldn't you know it, it fell and broke open. So we are going to be doing something a little bit different today. But before I get to that, let's talk about the beer itself. This beer today is by Bound Brewing Co in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's their Quick Take Hazy IPA brewed with Citra hops. I really like Gravity Bound. They make really good beer. They're really, like I think I mentioned in my last review where I reviewed one of their beers, they're kind of like a hyped up brewery, but they really deserve it in my opinion. Actually, the last time I reviewed their beer, I reviewed their No Time to Idle Fruited Sour on Placer Mountain, there over my left shoulder. So it's cool that we get to do this here. And so I mentioned I was going to do something a little bit different. Obviously, if you've seen these beer reviews before, you see I talk about the beer, I get some nice slow-mo footage of me opening the can, then I drink it, make some tasting notes, and tell you what I think. Well, I don't really have that luxury right now because there's a hole in the can right now, and this is the only thing keeping me from spilling it everywhere. So I figure, what the hell, let's shotgun it. Might be a little bit tipsy on the way down, but what are some cactus needles that I'm sure I'll inevitably step on or fall into? Well, as you saw, that was not my finest shotgun. I don't think they'd let me back onto a college campus anytime soon, but that's all right. I spent 9 years on one. I don't feel like I need to go back. Let's talk about some tasting notes. So, for sure, I mean, it's a hazy IPA. And a long time ago on this channel, I kind of realized that I was reviewing a lot of IPAs. And after a while, IPAs all kind of, I wouldn't say they taste the same, but you get a lot of the same notes and then maybe a few one-off flavors here and there, or some different ballots of the flavors here and there. And so I kind of have been reviewing fewer IPAs lately. And I was actually thinking about it. I don't know if I've ever reviewed a hazy IPA on this channel. It's not really my favorite style. I don't know how to say this, but I think a lot of breweries make bad beers, but because they're hazy IPAs, they get away with making bad beers. And of course, I'm not naming names. Gravity Bound certainly does not fall into that category. One thing that I think they do really well is hazy IPAs, and I find that even though I never order a hazy IPA, generally speaking, when I go to a brewery, I'm getting one when I go to Gravity Bound because I think they make really good ones. Now, when I'm thinking about this beer flavor-wise, for sure, I'm getting like pine, I'm getting mango, I'm getting like distinctly mandarin orange. It kind of also has this like, it's definitely off dry. I think it's got a lot of residual sweetness, and to me it almost comes across as this like confectioner sugar type sweetness. That's a note that I sometimes get in like beers that use lactose, but this beer to my knowledge does not use lactose. I am getting this note that I kind of get in these hazy IPAs where it's like kind of like peppery almost. It's got that like pepperiness that you sometimes maybe get in something like a beer brewed with noble hops, but in the hazy IPA it just has that like juicy quality, that viscousness of the beer, viscosity of the beer. I think that's the actual word I'm trying to say. And I got this like peppery note. It's ultimately a pretty good beer. I think it's a great sipper. It's got some intriguing notes that, with every hazy IPA, they do kind of, I think, have a lot of the same notes unless there's adjuncts in them. But that does remind me that I think also I'm getting like some spruce tip in this beer. Like it's got that pine adjacent, citrus adjacent note, and spruce tip to me, that's somewhere like, I compare spruce tip to kind of like a lemon pepper note. And so it's interesting that I say like, oh, it's got the citrus, the orange, it's got the pepper, and now that jogged my memory that spruce tip is the flavor I'm getting here at the end. So a solid beer, another great one from Gravity Bound. Cheers, and hey, shotgun a backcountry beer for me.